Well, the Valkyries dispatched the Connecticut Sun pretty easily, 89-64. The reserves played most of the fourth quarter. Pretty all-around game. A lot of minutes distributed left and right. But yeah, we're joined by the one and only Nathan Canilao. He's back, baby.
I'm
Uh,
back. I told you guys I'd be back.
oh yeah, and Marisa and Ingemi and Jane Kenny are on the ground, boots on the ground in Connecticut. Yeah, guys, what do you kind of make of this game? Not really, not the most competitive game, but we got Nathan here, so
Hey, you go first again.
Oh wow. It's funny. I was able to watch like two Connecticut Sun games this season, and it was they're both wins in Boston last week, and then against the Sky last night. And now I see it. Like I was kind of like, oh wow, I can kind of see it. Like you can see a little glimpses. And then I watched tonight. I was like, oh no, that's not. They just the Valkyries just destroyed them. I thought like it was over after like the first 7 minutes. It felt like this is gonna go haywire. I like that we got some Ustay minutes. That was like my big takeaway. Like they got up really big, and then Ustay got in, and she had a couple of dimes that I was
Yeah.
like, nice. She had a little step back jumper that over Haley Van Lith that I liked. I thought she played really well. I thought it was a good overall win for the Belgs.
Marissa, what did Natalie kind of say about what did Natalie say about you stayed after the game?
Yeah, she complimented her. She seemed really happy to like talk about her, and that I asked also as well, just like what's kind of been the biggest improvement she's seen in her this year, and she mentioned defensively. I thought she looked way more playable defensively as well, so that made sense. I mean, again, also you're playing against like Haley Van Lith in that unit, like it's a little. Even for Connecticut's on standards, it even wasn't their top lineup. So take that with what it is. But yeah, once again, her court vision looks good. She had that one step back jumper that was pretty impressive. Again, I think. I mean, I think we've all been saying since day one, Yusei looks perfectly playable, and
Yeah,
that seems to remain true. I think she looks a little more aggressive. Natalie said her communication was better. That's obviously not something we get to like see or experience as much. But yeah, I mean, I still think that she's somebody who they might need at some point, especially these next couple of days. There's a back-to-back here, and then we found out today finally that Salon, Zandolcini, and Gabby Williams will be leaving after tomorrow's game in New York. So that Sunday game in Portland, I bet we see some more USA minutes. So I think it was all around good that she got some time tonight.
definitely, yeah. So yeah, 2 points, 3 assists. I think she hit Kyla twice, which those are some nice passes there. And even the assists she didn't make, I thought she had really good court vision in the half
Yeah.
court. Like she was making these skip passes that were really really nice. But Jane, do you kind of? I mean, I don't know. We kind of know what the rotation is right now, but do you think Stay can kind of earn her way into minutes more than just filling in for the international players that are leaving?
Well, I think that in those final four games that are after the break, it would probably be smart to continue to use their reserves and kind of their deep bench. Like this was a first kind of look at an extended period of play with the stay ready group. So that was nice to see. I thought Ashton Prechtel and Nadia, they were, protecting the rim. I felt like the defensive intensity for it being a 25-point game in the fourth quarter was like solid. So that's a good sign that they're just able to use their deep bench and kind of as, three high usage players are going and playing in the FIBA tournament. When they return, it would probably be smart to get them some rest. Obviously, you want to be able to adequately ramp them up for playoffs, but just kind of have that balance. And you're not going to be able to use the development spots in the playoffs. That's done after the next 5 games. So just kind of getting them some run was good to see. Obviously, it's an opponent they can take care of fairly easy.
Ashton with a very efficient 5 fouls in 10 minutes.
Jesus, I didn't even realize that. Oh man,
Three blocks.
Three
Three
blocks.
three
Yeah.
blocks.
blocks.
Also, every time we've seen Nadia Fingal play, I've kind of been like, yeah, I can see the vision there. I think she's somebody who's going to be like a real reserve WNBA player at some point.
She rolls really nicely. I feel like Stay hit her a couple times, and like I think Mila could have hit her a
Good
couple times
crashes
too.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it kind of just goes to show like this Valkyries depth is pretty solid, and those stay ready games do keep these players ready. The Valkyries bench had 54 points tonight, which was a franchise record. Janelle Salon 15 points, Caitlin Chen 10 points. Just kind of everyone doing a good job of that. I mean, it's kind of hard to come away with takeaways from this game, but do you guys have takeaways from this game as they head into this pretty important matchup against the Liberty, just because they have to continue to win games to secure a top four seed? Vegas is right on. I think Vegas is on the verge of passing them, and they only have 5 games left in their season. So the Valkyries kind of have to keep winning. There's not really time for them to rest. So guys, what are your takeaways from this game as they head into New York?
I thought that it was good for them to get a game like this. Because I think if it was like more of a dogfight, if it was even more of like a 10-point win, a 12-point win, where it was like sort of hard to get a big lead, I think that would not bode well going into tomorrow, knowing that the Liberty are also trying to vie for their own playoff spot. They're trying to go as high as they can in the standings, and they're right there. So I think it's actually good that they were able to kind of like really use this game as kind of like a rest game and like play everybody. You know, Gabby doesn't really have to play. Veronica doesn't really have to play in the back end of the second half. That's really good for them, and I think tomorrow will be huge. Especially now that we're getting into that part of the season where teams really need to start winning, and the top 8 is pretty much secure. I don't see Portland really moving into that 8th spot. So and then 8 to I think 2 is only like 2.5 or 3 games separating. So really important game, I think but tonight doing this to Connecticut and getting that rest I think was really important.
I think coming off of the Minnesota game, which is their best win of the season at Minnesota, they finally go and beat them. To come out and not have that letdown, I think is really important for them as well, because the way Natalie put it after the Minnesota game is like they do have those dips sometimes, and I think she meant more like in game. But sometimes we've seen like in the schedule too. I mean, you losing to Chicago after they lost to Minnesota last week. So I think coming here and it not being any sort of a trap game is a really good sign, especially like traveling from Minnesota to Connecticut. It's not exactly next door. It's not coming from San Francisco, but there's still like a travel element to that. So I thought that was really nice to see. And also playing New York tomorrow night. It's kind of their last like hard game on the schedule. They have Portland 3 times, who obviously won't be in the playoffs, LA, who won't be in the playoffs, in Seattle, who is also just like not a good team. So tomorrow's kind of their last like challenge test before the postseason. So I think it's good that tonight was a good sign of them keeping their foot on the gas.
Yeah, and I also think like even though the strength of schedule isn't there, they should want to win out for seeding purposes. They need to like choose their own destiny when it comes to just playoff matchups, and everyone's going to be fighting for kind of, no one wants to be matched up with like Las Vegas in the second round, for example, and New York is going to be looking to climb. So I think it's interesting because the playoffs are locked with their 8 and it's just a matter of seeding. It does still matter to just keep a better overall record. And I think getting to see the Stay Ready group, the deep reserves tonight, just come in and keep that intensity is probably a good sign for just the next 4 games, or the last 4 games after New York.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Jane, because every time I think about like controlling their destiny, I think of the Seattle game last year, where as long as they win, they avoid Minnesota. We're talking about maybe a series with Atlanta, which I think was way more winnable.
Yeah.
Probably the most winnable matchup they could have had last year in the playoffs, and obviously they couldn't come through. These games are going to be super important. I think when it comes down to the last final 2 games or the final week or so of the season, you want to be the team that can say, hey, we could rest tonight, and so we can get to that part of the bracket, or we could win out. We could win this game and play this team. But I think they're playing a really dangerous game. You're playing a really dangerous game if you don't win and if you cannot finish out the season strong, kind of like we saw last season.
Yeah, right now.
It's like I was at that game and it was so brutal because you just saw it happening and they collapsed the way that they did so many times last year. I don't think they are that team this year, but
Gabby was on the other end of that time.
That's true.
So that was their clinching game for Seattle too.
Yeah.
I think it's a good point that like they do want to control that destiny as much as they can.
Yeah, right now the Valkyries, I think the 1 seed's pretty much out of reach. I think the Lynx only have to win 1 game and it's over. But if the Valkyries win, I believe 4 of their last 5, they'll get the 2 seed. They have control of their destiny there. If not, the Aces have the tiebreaker on them, so they'll probably fall to 3. The Aces probably won't fall further than 3 because they have the tiebreaker on the Dream. But we'll see. It's kind of hard with the bracketing. Like you'd want the Aces to fall to 4, so then them and Minnesota beat up on each other, and you can kind of avoid that matchup till the finals. I think
it'd be great to not have to face both of them. Just having one of them would be really great.
I still do think though, like a matchup with like an Indiana, like a very just explosive offensive team, is pretty scary, even for a defense this good.
I'm not worried about Indiana.
I mean, I do think the Caitlin factor. I mean, I do think that offense is the engine of that offense is pretty good.
They've handled her though. I don't know.
Yeah, they have. I mean, just next to Kelsey Mitchell, like she's such a like she's really hard to guard. You know,
Yeah.
she's
I
just,
feel like
she
Indiana's
can get it.
they're getting hot at the
Yeah,
right time.
yeah.
which
I
is
just
scary.
think
Yeah.
that matchup doesn't concern me the way like Vegas and Minnesota
But it would
do.
concern me if it's like in clutch time in the fourth quarter and you have Kelsey Mitchell.
Yeah.
Yeah. They surprisingly do really well against Boston though. Like for some reason, they actually of all the bigs that they do well against, they for some reason they can limit Aaliyah Boston. Maybe because Clark and Kelsey Mitchell are kind of cooking them at times. But I think probably the Dream is also a good matchup for them. Like they
Well, they
just
have DeWanna Bonner now. What do we think
Yeah.
of that?
yeah.
I mean, if she could just give you something, the
Yeah.
Dream needs some.
I thought it was a great pickup for them.
Yeah. I would like to think that the Valkyries want Dallas. I mean, I feel like they've.
Yeah.
Even though there's
Yeah.
Paige and I mean, obviously A's not there, but like
Yeah.
Paige is on the other side. It's like,
They've handled Jeff Shepard really well.
yeah, like they feel like they could just just kind of push them out of the pain
Yeah.
and be really physical, and then like they kind of crumble. I feel like Dallas would be like an ideal first round matchup for them. Even it's crazy to say with Paige being like a top, 5 or 6 player in the
They've
league.
also handled Paige though.
And they have.
Yeah.
They have handled Paige. So, I think the Liberty are actually pretty scary too. I think just even with how inconsistent they've been, it's like the stars on that team. There's so many of them,
Yeah.
and in playoff series, obviously, you guys know.
And there's
Yeah.
some experience. Like,
Yeah.
I don't actually think this is that good of a Liberty team, and I don't think they're gonna like go to the finals. But like that experience against the Valkyries and just like their levels of stars in different areas of the floor, they've always had trouble with Brianna Stewart, for example.
Yeah.
So like that matchup worries me. I think they'd win, but to me, I think their ideal first round matchup is Dallas. Second round, Indiana, because then it's not Vegas.
Yeah.
And then obviously the finals, if you ends up Minnesota, Vegas, or whatever. But to me, that's a kind of the ideal path I've been thinking.
Mystics, thoughts on the Mystics? Any scariness from the
They scare
Mystics?
me. The Mystics kind of worry me because they're a bigger team. I know the Valkyries
Austin.
held them to 49 points, but they held them to 66 points in that game as well. So I don't know. I think they're dynamic. They're inexperienced, but in a way of like they don't know better yet. They're young. They can do a lot of things. I thought if they got Kelsey Plum, they would have been at a deadline. They would have been like scary. Like they would have actually worried me. I think Sydney Johnson should be in consideration for Coach of the Year. I'm very impressed by that Washington team, and I kind of wouldn't want to play them.
I think it's kind of opposite of New York in a way where it's like inexperience versus a lot of veteran experience, and I do think that experience like matters in the playoffs. I think it's huge having someone like Tip or Kayla Thornton even with championship experience, Kia Stokes. I think they're gonna actually come to rely on their veterans when they're in a playoff scenario. So just going against another team that has a lot of experience in those scenarios is scary, I guess.
I think
Definitely.
the Valks playoff lineup, but I don't think we're going to see much of like Caitlin Chen or anything. I think we're going to see veteran lineups if we've seen anything from the way Nikase likes to run things.
Let's talk a little about the rotation because I think that's kind of solidified a little bit more over the last week. I think Caitlin's minutes have definitely gone down because Tip's been playing. So I think I just looked up the stat. Tip is scoring the eighth most points in the league in August right now, like eighth most across the entire league. Her play has been really really good. So I guess how do you guys see this playoff rotation kind of solidifying as like I think Natalie's been doing less full platoon swaps, a lot more intermixing with like the starters. I think she's been having Gabby play with the bench, that bench unit a lot more. What do you guys kind of make of the rotation right now, and how do you think that's going to shape up come playoff time?
Yeah, I think like you guys said, like Caitlin Chen, I think will get a reduced amount of minutes. I think LA would probably be in that mix too. To like, really probably rather just go small. So, I think Ja would be obviously going to play. I think Tip is going to play. Did Kai come off the bench tonight? I think she did, right? So like I think Kai would
And she was
play.
good.
Yeah.
I think for defensive purposes, but I think that 8. I mean, I don't know. I actually even see like her just going 7. I can see Natalie just going 7 in a lot of in certain matchups, not playing Kai at all.
Yeah.
And just going with John.
She
too.
trusts Kai as a defender, though.
She does.
I don't think Kai.
I see a world where Kai plays more than Chechi some games. Where Chechi
Or KT was out of the rotation in that Lynx game.
I mean, maybe they're resting Chechi a little bit. But.
Yeah, but Chechi's also been inconsistent. Minnesota, she was obviously really good, and she can turn it on, and she's kind of like your shot
The one team
maker,
she's good
but
against.
She's also had games where she doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
I think she struggles with really athletic wing. Like tonight is a good example. Like they stuck a lot of like Aaliyah Edwards was guarding her for a little bit, and even a player like Sanaya Rivers is really athletic. So like someone who can chase her, I think gives her a lot of trouble. So I think in a matchup like a Dallas or
Yeah.
like even that's a favorable matchup. Like in a matchup like that, I could definitely see Chechi playing a lot less because she is the type of player that kind of takes advantage of slower-footed defenders, in my opinion.
And I think in those situations, Kai kind of goes into that spot sometimes because she's a good defender and she crashes the boards pretty well.
Yes.
That's my thing with Kai is also like I was looking at the lineups the other day and that small ball lineup with her instead of Chechi and then Janelle at the 5. That's their best lineup. They're like plus 23 points in a good amount of time. So I kind of think that might be a lineup they turn to a little bit more. The funny thing about Chechi is like her defense isn't that bad. Like they're actually a plus when she's on the floor. So it is kind of a weird like perception thing. Like you would think like the offense gets better because she's this movement shooter and everything, but it's been kind of the opposite this season. So
She's been a good defender this year, actually. She's using her length better. She's disrupting shooting lanes. I actually think that's her biggest area of growth. I just think her shots, I mean, has her worst shooting percentage of her career so far. Like, I just think that area, maybe because they're asking more from her defensively, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel like this hasn't been her most reliable offensive year.
They haven't. They weren't using it tonight, but I do remember when I was on the beat. Like what I really liked is when she was struggling and they kind of put her in that like mid post, and they were just like, all right, let's get the switch on a smaller defender. Let's have Veronica set the screen and get a switch. I know like they had a really good advantage with that with like when Courtney Williams was guarding her, like they would post her up. I'd like to see more of that, but again, it's matchup based. Like tonight, I don't think they could have really done that because even Connecticut's smaller guards are kind of stockier, bigger, so that would have been kind of harder. Post defense is a little bit better there. So, but that would be something that I would be really interested to see in the playoff series if they get a certain matchup. Would she post up Kelsey Mitchell or someone like that? That'd be really interesting to see if that maybe unlocks her a little bit more.
Yeah, so now that we know that the players are leaving after New York tomorrow, we kind of talked about the international break at times, just like how it's kind of coming at a weird time for everybody, but for the Valkyries, they have like 3 players leaving and their coach. Jane, how do you do you think this is gonna like mess up their momentum or their rhythm or disrupt anything they got going on? Because it is such a weird time for this break to be coming, especially because they have so many people participating.
It's definitely odd. I think that if they plan for it, in the way that they said they have, there is a way to, get around it because it is something that everyone is experiencing, whether or not they have as many players playing. It's just like, there is like an actual break. The players who are not going obviously will have like some practices, but I think it's, not as intense as being at this point of the season. So I think that it's just interesting that they come back and they don't have like the craziest strength of schedule. They have a really easy schedule, actually.
Yeah.
Put it that way. So that might be good to come back and kind of like ease back into it in that sense. But it's definitely odd. It's just the reality of having a summer league like this happens for the Olympics every 4 years as well. And it happened with Eurobasket. It wasn't a break, but it's like players coming in and out. So it just kind of happens in this league. So it'll be interesting. I think what I'm most curious about is how it'll be kind of navigated with Natalie stepping away, just because she's so focused on what's in front of her, and then just going and coaching like a super team on USA, and then also just with how much the 3 are going to be playing, because they're really important to their teams there. So I think that'll be interesting to see.
Don't forget, shout out Morgan Randolph also going over.
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow. Dang.
The Valkyries are sending a squad. I did hear there's a lot of them going.
I do want to say, like, this is just, like, totally kind of like, it's on topic, but it's kind of a side. I'm wondering if FIBA would move this tournament to the winter and Eurobasket, too. It just feels like now that the W is getting bigger, like
they're being paid the way they are now.
Yeah, like it's just hard because just from like a media, and I know people don't really care about this, but like from a media standpoint, it's like they're going up, like their playoffs go up against the NFL, and like historically, like other leagues do not want to do that.
No.
And you're taking this 2-week break, and then you got to kind of get people back interested in the W, but like people are like watching football now. Like it is a little bit weird. So I guess for the future, I'm wondering if FIBA just kind of looks at this and goes, let's try, for the growth of the game, let's just put this tournament in January.
That was my hot take.
Unrivaled.
I think it's a little bit better going up against unrivaled than the NFL for sure.
Or at least, maybe you schedule it so you can do the international, then do unrivaled. Like, there's ways to get the WNBA to be full year round. I kind of think like of the many things going on in the WNBA, which this is probably maybe lesser on that scale of things. The WNBA needs to kind of figure out some of the schedule stuff because like they're a growing league and I think they can take advantage of it. It's just sometimes it feels like they are getting in their way with some of the scheduling stuff. Like I just don't understand how there can be a FIBA break like right before the playoffs.
Okay, I have a bit. This is just kind of like a big picture question. Can they pull off? Because I was thinking about like, okay, how can you make the schedule? It's just so hard because they're a summer league, so like it's hard to like say, it's all compact. Would they be better off if they started in the winter and or maybe not the winter, but like maybe mid-spring and just had a draft in the middle of the season like baseball does? And yes, like can you just reserve a spot for a rookie or 4 rookies? Is that possible? Like I just feel like it is so. If we're gonna talk about the schedule, it's kind of hard to like change it the way it's structured. But can you push it back enough to where the draft could still happen in April, but you already started your season?
I think if they did that, they'd have to like change the way developmental players are used, and maybe have those spots that are actually rookie spots instead, and you only get 2 of them. Also, I'm not sure that can even happen until the next CBA.
Yes.
So like,
Right.
but I could
That would be
see
crazy.
if they were to do something like that. Pro lacrosse also does stuff like this. I know this audience is probably not thinking about professional lacrosse at the level that I am, but they do this as well. And a lot of the time, they'll just have like those roster spots reserved. But in the WNBA, they could use those developmental spots, have them, and then they can use those as they see fit, and they can use their drafted players. And then if they go with an undrafted player or whatever. I think the players that would not benefit or would harm the most are the undrafted players who go and sign with a team later on. Trying to think of examples of that, but like that has definitely.
It's just curious because like
Sydney Taylor, for example.
Sydney
like,
Taylor,
something like that would hurt a lot.
I think like they're just gonna expand to 50 games at some point, and how do you crunch that into what's already here? I obviously like the 2-week break helps, but like. It does feel like we're going to see a lot more back-to-backs, a lot more 4 and 5 nights. That does seem on the horizon, but
Once again, they don't care about the media. They
They don't
care
care about the
we're
media.
traveling through these back-to-backs.
They don't care. But definitely for the players, I would like to think that this is going to hit them pretty hard the first time they're going to do it. Especially because starting in early May and trying to finish up in October, that's a really quick season.
That's even with interruptions too.
Yeah, that's
and
no
there-
interruptions.
Almost every
Exactly.
year there's something of some sort.
Right.
So
I mean, to add to that, like this is something I'm interested for, and this is like way into like next year. But like EuroBasket comes back again next year. It's like every 2 years. Are the Valkyries gonna let Gabby Williams, Janelle Salon, players that are important to them, just go away for like 2 weeks? You stay? Like, are they just gonna go away again for 2 weeks like that? Obviously, for the Valkyries, they weathered that, and if anything, like they got Caitlin Chen out of it, but and Letitia Me here. But like, I don't think they're getting paid more money right now, right? Are you gonna let them?
They're like obligated to. So it's a matter of how they kind of deal with that. I mean, remember last year Julie Van Loo saying like she had said to Belgian media that she felt pressured not to go. And then she said that was like misquoted, and then obviously she didn't come back. So I don't know what kind of signals they will be getting, but I think they're supposed to let them go under the new CBA.
Yeah, and they're also, if you remember, Ileana Repair didn't even come until after EuroBasket, and then
Right.
I think the year prior she had taken the season off from the WNBA just to train for the Olympics, like be in
And Kenny had
France
done that
and
as well.
playing there.
Yeah.
So we definitely, I mean, the Valkyries started off their history with like a lot of international players that were like very committed to their international commitments, and one thing that they all really talked about is how much they appreciated that they would honor that and like respect that, or the team would. But I think just with the new CBA and the contracts, it's like they maybe feel it's interesting because we talk about how maybe players will feel like they don't have to go overseas in the off season, obviously, but like the ones that it's home for them, like they still want to go, and like
I remember
their
last
national
year
team is a
Trechi
big
saying
deal.
like this is her going overseas.
Yeah, she was like.
And I think
just
too, like as the
chilling.
league grows, as W grows, and people and players get more money, and it starts to really become like the league to be in. I do think that there's gonna, there's probably because the way FIBA is kind of centered, it's centered around the schedule of international league, of the Euro League, of the Asian League, of Australia, right? So like, I think, but like I do think there is gonna come, if we're talking about like FIBA is a growth of basketball organization. There is probably going to be a time where they have to say, okay, like the W is the king, or the queen right now of this world in terms of basketball. Yeah, like we need to probably set, push some things around so that like this tournament, these Eurobasket, this stuff goes before or after the season, because it is, I think a lot more players are going to start skipping out, even with national pride and things like that. I do think. With the money and the injury risk, it does just make more business sense for a player to just not go and play here and be domestically available for their WNBA team.
That's a great point, and it also would, if that were to change, would speak to just the growth of like women's basketball here, because the W is the only like league that's trying to make summer basketball season. Like everyone else, abides by like college basketball season, NBA, it's like kind of all the same fall through winter. So if that can change the calendar of like what basketball season means, and I mean obviously they always have played at this time, but on the FIBA scale, I think that would be huge for just showing their growth.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, before we get out of here, I want to give Nathan the chance to tell everyone what he's been working on, because he's been doing some good stuff at UConn. We've been following it from online and everything. But yeah, Nathan, how's it going in good old UConn in Connecticut?
I will say it's just a very different vibe from the Bay. I've been telling the story to the media room earlier, but like someone came up to me and was like, "Hey man, you have an accent," and I was like, and he said it in like a Boston accent. I was like, "Dude, no, you have the I don't have the accent." But no, it's been cool, man. Like covering UConn and kind of getting to know the community. The first 3 weeks has been cool. I've been hopping around football and men's basketball, and women's hoops hasn't really started yet. So I've been kind of going to these games and talking to the UConn alum. But it's been fun. It's definitely not, the Bay Area is unique. It's my home. It's not anything like that. But I will say, like, people care about basketball on the East Coast to a very similar level that they do in the Bay Area, and it's been cool to chronicle some of these players that have come through. So yeah, I've been working on that, talking to a couple Suns players. Olivia Nelson-Ododa was cool. Talked to her in Boston last week, and that was fun. But just been able to kind of go around and see a different world that is not, Oakland, Antioch, Pittsburgh. That's been fun.
How's the food?
Out here, right?
Oh, the Dunkin'. I mean, the coffee is good. I don't know about the food. The food's kind of.
Coffee's all that matters.
I mean, I go to Starbucks for my breakfast, so like, I don't know if I can get off that, but pizza's good. I will say they don't have there's not a lot of like Asian variety here, so I haven't like really find that, but it's been cool to see like a different palette of stuff. Like there's a lot of I've seen like bodega. I don't see bodegas in San Francisco. Like
right.
I've been going to that stuff, so that's been fun. But it was good to see Natalie and everyone today. That was really cool to kind of reconnect after kind of a month off. It was kind of funny seeing them.
And Natalie definitely missed you.
Shout out to the Sun food.
Oh
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I clam chowder.
Hey, my last podcast I did, I just thrashed Chase Center's food. I couldn't say any like more good things about Mohegan Sun, and like even today wasn't even like it was top tier, but like yesterday they had steaks, they had Cape Cod, they had like fettuccine Alfredo. Like I thought I was at like a
This was the best medium meal
5-star.
I've had in the WNBA this year.
Damn.
This might be the best medium meal I've had like ever. Like I was like, Jesus, this is some good stuff
They
here.
like pull up in New England. I remember doing college hockey games, and they'd be like, "Hey, want a lobster?" So like in New England, they take pride in this.
Definitely.
Food area. That's what I miss about the East Coast.
Well, we definitely miss you on the beat, Nathan. It's as Natalie said, literally in the press conference, it's not the same. She said that 3 times before starting her press conference pregame. But yeah, we'll do the routine. Nathan, where can we read you? And
You can read me at USA Today or the Norwich Bulletin. I got some stuff coming up. I have a really good story about Gabby Williams coming through tomorrow morning. Hopefully that will make it to the national site, but you can read me there. And I'm trying to get we'll see. I don't know if we'll get a podcast. I'm trying to start a podcast going for UConn, but that'll be more in the September, October range.
Sweet. Jane, what you got?
You can find my Valkyries coverage on San Francisco Standard. I'm going to be just writing on this road trip and my experience here, and then just Valkyries ahead of the FIBA break when they finish up in Portland.
Nice. And Marisa.
Yeah, kind of everywhere right now. I feel like Jane and I will be in New York tomorrow, so
yes.
excited about that. ValkyriesBeat.com, please subscribe ahead of the playoffs. I'll have something for the Mercury News actually tomorrow in New York. Had a story for Mission Local about Veronica Burton's growth from this season, from last season to this season earlier today. Had something for the Nine Sports about how the Valkyries defense adjusted in Minnesota. So I'll have a FIBA explainer for Mission Local next week as well. And then, yeah, all this stuff is pretty much on ValkyriesBeat.com as well. So please subscribe and thanks.
Sweet. And yeah, you guys can find me at Clutch Points. Got some Valkyrie stuff coming up tomorrow. I have a little small feature, just kind of talk to some of the Valkyries about how they handled some of the personal work-life balance stuff with this profession. So yeah, check that out for tomorrow. But otherwise, we'll get out of here. Nathan, we'll definitely bring Nathan back for some playoff games. I think hopefully, maybe if you're not too busy.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
like if you guys get past, the first round, I'll be on for. I'll be watching. I was watching. It's so funny now. I was telling them like it's funny watching the Valkyries like on TV now because I can have no deadlines.
You can
I
see
just
more.
watch ball. Like I could just kind of be like, wow, that was cool. Yeah, I'll definitely hop back on sometime. Once you guys are in the finals.
Nathan Canilao will return. See y'all later. Subscribe, like, comment, do the thing.